Hi, and welcome back. I'm your host,
The
Bev, and
Empath
of course,
Sisters.
joining me, my
Join.
beautiful sister, my co host, Shelly.
Hello, everyone.
And today's episode, we have a very, very special guest that is joining us. I'm
hmm
so excited because this guest that we have on is somebody that I personally see for some holistic treatments, and I absolutely adore her. She's a beautiful soul inside and out. And I think if you ever get the opportunity to meet her or see her, you will also feel the same way. Shelly has not yet had the opportunity to see her, but she's got some things to share with our listeners,
hmm
and I'm super excited for all of you to take a listen. So today we have Shawna Still, and she is got a beautiful business called Be Still Health and Beauty. So thank you so much for joining us today, Shawna.
Thanks, Bev and Shelly, for having me on. It's an honor to be here. As Bev said, yes, I'm Shawna Still, and my business is Be Still Health and Beauty. I have a home business here in Saskatoon specializing in reflexology, holistic skincare, body sugaring, and other therapeutic facials.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're very excited to have you on, like Bev said. Earlier, I have never had the pleasure of having, reflexology with you. I've actually never had reflexology before. So I
Yeah.
do know, what reflexology, I think in a way of what it is. But again, like I said,
Hmm.
we are having you as a guest so that we can learn and
Yeah,
find out what reflexology is all about. And I'm very excited to find out what it's all about and hear stories
absolutely.
of, your business. And not only that, even Bev. And I know she's
Yeah.
had, sessions with you. So this
Yeah,
is, very intriguing and interesting at the same time. So, so
for
welcome.
sure. Yes. I'd have to say, for myself, reflexology actually came into my awareness when I lived here in Saskatoon way back in grade 8, when I lived with our grandmother, and she had taken her certification in reflexology. I don't know if it just started to become a thing at that time. So I don't even know, that's probably 1990s, early 90s. And so she had told me she had taken the certification, and I was like, oh, cool, what's that? And she's like, well, you do some work on the feet. And that's basically all she told me. And I was like, okay. And she had clients and things like that. And I had seen like a poster of the diagram of the body on the backs of the feet. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. Still didn't really know anything about it. And I remember my grandma doing some sessions on my feet. And the one time that I really noticed a difference or how it helped me was when I was suffering with a cold at the time. And I just literally, my sinuses were so plugged, I could not breathe. And she was like, oh, my grandma calls me Bevy. So she's like, oh, Bevy, she's like, just come lay on the couch and I'll do some work on your feet. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, sure, do whatever. So I laid on the couch and she's working on my feet. And I remember her really focusing more along the tops of my toes. And then all of a sudden, literally within minutes, my sinuses started to clear and it was like, oh my God, and I could breathe and it was incredible. And I was like, looking
That's
at my
so
grandma like,
cool.
you're a magic healer. Like, what did you just do to me? And it literally just moved my cold. I could breathe. I had a better sleep. It just was awesome. And I was just like, wow, my grandma's got like magic hands. That was cool. So she still never even explained to me what it was. And then now, of course, on this healing journey and kind of, going through it, you kind of just go where you're led, and it just one thing leads to another, and we need different modalities and tools at different times. And I honestly have no idea how I even found Shawna, how spirit brought her to me, but I'm very grateful for it. And she does reflexology and some other modalities that I do see Shawna for. And I can tell you that my experiences with Shawna have been amazing, and I still actually don't even know, like, maybe the science behind reflexology, which as a Gemini rising, I'm always very curious. So I love the learning, and I can't wait for you to explain to us even that like part of it. Because all I can say is like it's so relaxing, and we're talking about so many other things too that I'm not really like asking you all the logistics of reflexology. So I really appreciate you joining us today to be able to explain to our listeners maybe the science of it, maybe, or however you want to call it, and I can maybe just give my personal experience of a session and how I feel. But yeah, so we'd love to hear all about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, reflexology is very gentle and it's very therapeutic. It's non-invasive
Hmm.
and typically is performed on either the feet, the hands, the face, and the ears. And that is because those parts of the body have a map of our internal body. So, there's different points
Cool.
that correlate with our organs, our glands, our nervous system, essentially all the systems of the body.
Yeah.
So, when we have tension and stress and stagnation that's trapped up in the body, those manifest into physical symptoms. So, by working specific areas, we can help target with pain management, sleep improvement,
Yeah.
helps with anxiety, stress, hormonal
Hmm.
imbalances, really anything. And
Yeah.
because it so profoundly works with the nervous system, it brings the body out of that fight or flight response and switches gears and moves over to the rest and repair mode. And when you do that, the body is able to then recalibrate and
Hmm.
essentially find a natural rhythm where it can begin to heal itself. So many people find it extremely relaxing. Probably
Hmm.
about 8 out of 10 clients are asleep with about 10 minutes into the treatment, which the
True.
more relaxed you are, the better and more efficiently the treatment is going to work for you.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
That is definitely true. It's very relaxing. I'm usually like la 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 at the beginning, and then it's like, oh, I'm so sleepy now. I don't want to talk.
Well,
So,
and talking and everything, that all is part of that healing process. Sometimes people have
Yeah.
to get it out, and then all of a sudden the body just switches gears and shuts down, and it's like, okay, now it's
Yeah.
time to restore.
okay.
Totally.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
was just actually going to ask the question because um what like have you had anybody that has never actually relaxed? Like I know that there's some people, like even when I work on like with clients myself with Reiki, sometimes some people just can't
Can't shut it off.
shut
They're
it
like,
off, right? And so I'm glad that you explained that because I do know that for myself, I have a hard time relaxing. Like
mm-hmm.
even if I'm going for like a massage or anything like that, I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever, well, maybe once, maybe. I don't even know if I did or not, but like I don't typically relax. So
Yeah.
like to just fall into and just and I think that's just a safety thing for myself. But like
Yeah.
have you, had people that don't at all through the whole session?
Yeah, and actually, just because you said that safety thing for you, that very much has a key play in the way someone's going to respond. Of course,
Mhm.
when we start a session, we're just working on the feet or the hands, the face, the ears. Like we're not working the whole body, but just by working that one area, we're targeting the entire body. So
Right.
sometimes if I notice that a client, we also have like a conversation before I do a treatment. I kind of get a
Okay.
better understanding of where you're
Mm-hmm.
starting from, what your goals are. I get a feel for how stressed you're coming in as well. So I notice key things like if a client is laying there and I see that they're kind of staring off into space or, they're not closing their eyes, I might know firsthand that they're coming in from a very stressed state.
Okay.
Also, too, having your eyes open, being aware of what's happening, that too is a safety for some people. So not
Right.
Mm-hmm.
everyone is going to fall asleep. Some
Hmm.
people just want to feel it, they want to experience it, they want to ask me questions, and that's
Yeah.
totally welcome. So really,
Yeah.
it's just all about what feels good to you, what feels safe to you, and I just work with that.
Great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that's great. Yeah, because like I said, um, from a person for myself, I just know myself, like where
Mm-hmm.
I just have that mechanism of, I have to
Yeah.
feel very, very safe and trusting and in it, in order for myself to, you know, completely
Relax.
relax or fall
Yeah.
asleep even. So
Yeah.
that's great. I'm glad to hear that because it is true. I'm one of those people that likes to know what's going on and
Yeah.
all those kinds of things. So that's
Totally.
great. My other question would be is that like, are any limitations for anybody to have reflexology?
Technically, yes, like there are
Okay.
contradictions that we have to be aware of.
Okay.
However, because reflexology is so gentle and adaptable,
Mhm.
it really can be performed on anyone. So, of course, we do have to be mindful of things like deep thrombosis. If anybody has blood clotting, because reflexology works with the circulation, we want to make sure that there's nothing that we might loosen up and then that could shift and cause detrimental
Right.
things, right?
Yeah.
But typically, because it is so gentle and touch itself is so profoundly healing,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
can use a very, very light touch, even on newborn babies up to somebody who's in palliative care. So, yes, it is very adaptable in that way that I feel it can be used really on anyone and very beneficial to anyone.
Great.
Hmm.
Perfect. I love that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you just never know, right? And
Yep.
I agree with you. You don't want to cause any, other issues,
Hmm.
Oh,
if
for
somebody
sure.
has anything, right? So, that's great. I'm glad to
Like
hear that
you want to
too.
definitely like open up some pathways and move
Right.
things, but obviously not in a way that it's going to create a problem.
Right.
So, I mean, it reminds us, I'm including Shelly in this. Sorry, I could say myself, but it reminds me of when Shelly and I took cranial sacral
Mm.
therapy. It's the same thing. There's, some
Yeah.
precautions that we have to look for, like if they've had a mini stroke, things
Hmm.
like that. Because again, we're
Hmm.
working with the body and we just obviously need to be very careful with certain things. So,
Yeah.
so I could definitely see that being something.
Right. Yeah.
I I know for myself, naturally, I'm a talker, so I go to appointments and I'm like, "Blah, blah, blah, blah." I love to talk. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm also very curious, so I love to just talk and look around. But I have noticed, yes, there's like a safety for me too. I know, like even having say a new massage therapist,
Hmm.
by the time I'm 6 months in, they'll say to me, "Oh, there, finally, your body's starting to trust me." And I'm like, "Oh, is it now? Okay, great." Like that's awesome. But not to thinking or feeling, but my body already knows. It just is on that. So even though I trust the person, I'm like, "I love you," but my body's just like, "We're not sure."
Hmm.
So I can tell. It does take me a couple of times too, where I'm like learning, I'm curious and feeling it out, seeing what I'm feeling. But also, again, I'm very much for myself, as I'm a very grounded, energetic person, I have to connect to my physical body. And so for me, I find when I'm in session, that's also what I'm doing is really paying attention to how my body is speaking to me.
Hmm.
Just because I find that gives me so much more awareness as to like I guess maybe just to pay attention in the future too, of like when my body is speaking to me and what parts are speaking to me, that I'm like, oh, okay, I know that this is going on or that's what this means. And so when I have seen Shawna in the past, I love it because she has her little clipboard out. She gets you on this table and it's so comfy and it's warm and oh my God. And then she has the most amazing cream that she uses on your feet, honest to God. And and then she just starts like kind of feeling things out and moving around. And she has a little clipboard. And then she'll just like, as she's working, she'll just make little notes of things that she's feeling and picking up. So I also feel like Shawna works intuitively as well, of course, with her work. And so she'll keep, go along and blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, "Ugh." I'll be like, oh my God, that was so painful. Like, and sometimes you got to like breathe it out, and it's not super painful. I should just reverse on that for a second. I don't want people to think, oh my God, it's horrific. It's not. I mean, it's just like a little like uncomfortable, like, oh, whoa, that spoke to me. So it almost just kind of jolts you, where it's
Hmm.
like, wow. So you get that awareness, and I'll be like, what spot is that? And she'll go, oh, that's like the upper neck, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. So it's really interesting that all the spots that really speak is literally everything that I'm experiencing when I come in. And so it'll be like, oh, it's your neck. Oh, this is your left shoulder. Oh, yeah, well, I fell on the floor. So, yeah, like that's been killing me. And so then she'll keep going and it'll be like, oh, what's that? And it'll be like, oh, that's digestion. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's really cool to like see that connection happening as like those are the areas that are speaking and those are the areas that I am having issues with. And so it's really cool too that at the end of my session, so if I am really tight, my body is hurting, my neck and shoulders, my back is killing me, it's just like so tense. Honestly, I come out of reflexology and I feel like I've had like an hour, 2 hour massage and everything is soft and melted. It's just the most incredible. Sometimes I find coming for reflexology is sometimes more beneficial for me than actually going for a massage.
Mhm.
It's really cool. So, anyway, it's part of my experience.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually say that they find reflexology so different than massage, but if they are
Hmm.
using it for tension and stress, again, because you're just working on one part of the body, clients can relax in a different way because they're not
Yeah.
undressed. I'm not using a deep pressure that's forcing anything. That's
Yeah.
the thing with reflexology too, is because we're working with the nervous system, it's a very gentle, supportive healing aspect, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, if there's areas that are sensitive, I always warn people like reflexology isn't meant to be painful. The whole
Yeah.
concept of it is to get you nice and relaxed, to make it as
Yeah.
tolerable and enjoyable as possible. However, if there is an area that feels a little spicy,
Hmm.
we usually just note
Spicy is a
to
good word.
people that
Mhm.
that just means that there could be some extra tension, some extra congestion, even trapped emotions and traumas
Right.
can
Yeah.
leave deposits, as we say.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of break those up, allow that circulation to flow through, and then the body takes care of the rest. But
Yeah.
overall, it's very enjoyable. And again, if there are any areas that feel tender or uncomfortable, I'll just adjust my pressure to make sure that everything's still flowing nice and smooth and
Hmm.
comfortable.
And
Yeah.
Okay.
she
So,
does. And
okay.
sometimes she'll go, I'll come back to that one later.
Yeah.
And she just leaves it for a while.
Well, that's my next question. So, just to even for myself, like I know Bev's had reflexology and with you, but for me, I've never had it. So,
Hmm.
I'm curious of like how much pressure would you say that you know typically use on a person? Could you say like would it be like kind of like what we do in craniology or cranial? We it's like a less than a gram of what a nickel or
Pressure.
something.
Yeah,
Like
it's just like
it's like not very uh, heavy pressure at all. Like it sometimes you don't even have to touch
hmm
the
hmm
person, right? It's kind of like Reiki too, where the energy will move just by even putting your hands over the person and not even actually touching them. So I'm just curious, and maybe our listeners too, is just how much pressure would you feel, I guess, in reflexology?
hmm Yeah, and that too is dependent on each person as well. Like,
Okay.
obviously, if somebody has more illness, more chronic stuff going on, you're going to want to use a much gentler touch because if you're
Mm,
too forceful or to use too deep of a pressure, it can actually bring the body into like a hyperactive state and then creates a healing crisis. And we don't want
okay.
that. We want
no.
things to just flow evenly and naturally, right?
Yeah.
So again, for a child, I'll use a very light pressure. Enough that it's not ticklish, probably just a step beyond not tickling, right? We don't want
Right.
people to flinch or tense up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a very deep pressure, I have some clients that will ask for a deeper pressure. And of course, I'll work within what's comfortable to me. But a misconception too is that you either go hard or go home type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But that's not what we
Okay.
want because again, if I'm creating such a firm pressure that you're tensing,
Yeah.
then we are counterproductive in getting that circulation to flow easy, right? So
Yeah.
Okay.
I use a touch that again is going to be comfortable enough that you're going to feel it, you're going to feel those benefits, it's going to create you to relax. And
Hmm.
again, I'm also watching how my client is responding. If
Right.
I'm seeing that you're kind of squirming and having a hard time relaxing, then I might use a gentle or a deeper pressure in some areas where I know will activate the nervous system a little quicker. And then on those areas that feel a little more tight or stiff, I'll use a gentler pressure until I feel them loosening up, and then I can go a little deeper as I work. So,
Okay.
Nice.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I was just curious because I was thinking in my head, like, how does this work, like obviously with your hands, but like
Hmm.
what kind of pressure are you expecting, right? Or
mhm.
Yeah.
maybe not expecting or what have you. So thank you for that explanation because as someone that has never had it, that totally made me go, oh, okay, I understand it. Only plus like
Hmm.
we're in that holistic field anyway,
Yeah.
but that helps. Thank you so much for explaining that for sure. So what would be like a typical session, like if you had somebody new like me, if I came to see you, what would you start from finish, like start to finish of like how you would treat a person?
Yeah. So on your first visit, you can expect that I will have my clipboard, as Bev says. And on that clipboard, I'm going to have a questionnaire that's going to give me a better understanding of not only how you're feeling physically, but also your mental state,
Okay.
and as well as a
Hmm.
full history of any surgeries or um, anything that's happened to the body. Because again, if I'm working on a reflex point and say you've had a surgery, that reflex might not be in the area that I'm expecting to find it. And
Okay.
also by painting that bigger picture, again, I'm seeing where you're starting from, how much stress you have, what your diet is like, what your lifestyle is like, because that's all going to play into effect of what the root causes might be stemming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after we've done that, I'll ask you to remove your socks. I'll have you lie down on my table and I will cleanse the feet, apply a balm to the feet, and then start with some therapeutic relaxation techniques, and then start working with the nervous system, relaxing the solar plexus, the mind, all of the brain, and then working down from the upper body throughout. Typically,
Yeah.
a session lasts anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes, depending on which one you choose. Traditionally, about 45 minutes to 60 minutes is what you would usually find from most reflexologists. However,
Okay.
sometimes, again, if somebody is coming in a higher state of stress, they need a little longer to get into that deep relaxation. So that's why I offer that 90-minute for that option as well.
Okay.
And then after the
Nice.
treatment, I'll have you take some deep breaths. I'll apply some warm towels to your feet, and that's just going to solidify the treatment. I'll ask you how you're feeling. Often people wake up and they look at me and they're like, huh? And I know
Yeah.
that it's been a good treatment because I'm like, do you know where you are? Do you know what day it is? Can you tell me your name? And then after
Awesome.
they've sat up, I'll just say, okay, now this treatment's going to be in effect for the next 24 hours. Please
Yeah.
drink some water just to help flush any
Yeah.
toxins and take it
Yeah.
easy. And
Okay.
I will see you again in a month.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That sound to me already, I was like, I could
Yeah.
have that done.
Yep. Totally. You totally could, Shelley. I
Yeah.
think you would.
Yeah, I
I
totally could.
love it. And I think for Shelley, it would actually help you to relax. I feel like it
Yeah.
would just be like such an amazing modality for you.
Hmm.
So, how often would you recommend somebody come for treatment? Does it depend on, what their goals are, what they're dealing with, or is it just some people just come for relaxation, or they just love getting their feet touched, like myself?
Yeah, probably all of the above. Like,
Okay.
if somebody's coming with more of an acute issue, I'll probably have them do a few sessions close together just to help balance the system more quicker.
Nice. Yeah.
And once that system is balanced, then they can go longer and longer in between. I'll also follow up with them, see how they're doing, how they're feeling, if they're noticing any benefits.
Yeah.
Again, if somebody's starting at like a 100 and they've got a lot of chronic stuff going on, and I bring them down to an 85 in that first session, they might
Yeah.
not notice a whole lot of change, but then after a few sessions, everything becomes accumulative and they're feeling those benefits longer and longer, and then they can switch over to monthly for maintenance. But there's
Mhm.
really no guideline to how often you can have reflexology. I know there's
Okay.
people who like to have it weekly, like to have it bi-monthly. Like it really just depends on what your goals are and how you feel about it.
Okay.
Okay.
I have
And
another
oh,
question. Sorry.
I'm like, me too.
Yeah. Well, I know I'll lose it if I don't say it right
Yeah.
now.
No, I'll let you go first.
So, my next question was, you said feet. Now, is that only the feet, or I think you mentioned earlier that it could be the head or the hands. Is that right?
Yes, so there are different reflexology treatments. I
Okay.
specifically work on the feet, hands, and
Okay.
ears, but there is facial reflexology as well. And often people ask me, like, is there a benefit to one over the other?
Right.
And the short answer is no. It's really
Okay.
just about preference. For
Hmm.
feet tend to be the most common,
Okay.
and I think that's just because a lot of people like to have their feet worked on. The feet
Hmm.
also are your first line of defense when you touch the ground, right? Like our
Right.
feet are our foundation. So if your feet are not touching properly, or if you have issues with gait, that's all going to stem from the feet and work their way up.
Yep.
So I will assess the feet too to see how you're laying on your bed. Are they more pronated? Are they, I'll check the position of the feet too. But also because the feet live in a cushioned sock and shoe most of the time, those reflex points tend to be a lot more sensitive. So it allows me to find them a little quicker. Other people will choose the hands maybe because their feet have an injury, or maybe
Mm.
they're fearful of being ticklish, or maybe they work with their hands a lot. And so just having that physical manipulation on that part of the body can be very essential as well.
Right.
And
Hmm.
then for the ears, that's a much shorter treatment. Again, with the ears being connected directly to the brain, it stimulates the nervous system almost instantly,
Oh.
and you can work them both at the same time. And then there's also ear seeding that you can do with ear reflexology, where you place a little seed on an acupuncture point that you
Right.
can stimulate in between treatments if you need a quicker balance or, just want to help with sleep, anxiety, stress, all that stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad that I asked that because I was like, I knew you said that you could use hands or um, uh,
Mhm.
ears
Ears.
and face, but I just didn't know typically like what you prefer. And obviously, it doesn't really matter. It can be feet, or you can have a preference, which is
Hmm.
Yeah.
great. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Hmm.
What was your question, Beth?
My question would be, what have you maybe seen in your experience that reflexology has helped? Like, do you have
Mm,
any little testimonials or little client shares
yeah.
that you can share with our listeners of like, I had a client that had this or a client that had this, and this was the result. I know someone personally that has come to see you, and he had a horrific accident, had fallen, 7, 9 stories. Amazing to be alive today, in a lot of pain. Body hurts, feet hurt, everything. And I brought him to see Shawna for a session, and that was incredible. And that was like his starting point, I want to say, was probably the high point. And I know that after that, he felt so good. He slept good. His pain was like significantly reduced, and it lasted for days. And it was like the only modality that had seemed to give him relief in so many ways. And it was incredible. So I just know from someone who's like been through something very tragic
Right.
and, amazing to be alive to this day. Yeah, it was, and he's like 92% body injuries, and so it was just incredible session for him. He loved it. So it will
Amazing.
definitely be a part of his care once this is, once he's moving in that direction. So yeah. So I'm just curious, like, other people that you have worked with, like, do people come when they're, going to give birth and they're just waiting and maybe they're overdue? Like, do they come for reflexology to like get things stimulated and going? Does it help pregnant women to get comfortable, if they're experiencing discomfort? Is it, cancer treatments,
Yeah.
anything? Like, I'm just curious if there's anything you can share with our listeners that you have been like, whoa, I love those. That's just my curiosity.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, as you said, reflexology is great for anything from pregnancy, cancer, all that stuff. Again, it's helping to release that stress and just shift gears with the nervous system, right? So
Hmm.
with cancer clients, there's lots of studies that show that it can help with pain management. Um, I personally have seen it help with menopausal symptoms. I've
Mm,
had clients
awesome.
come in with hot flashes and night sweats, and they've told me that it's decreased, whether that means
Amazing.
they haven't had any for a week, or maybe they were experiencing one every 30 minutes and now they only get two a day. I've seen kids with ADHD go from all over the place to just like whoop, like it's like what happened? All of a sudden they're just calm, cool, collected, and yeah, it does
Oh,
Amazing.
something. I can't even explain it, and oftentimes people will say like, "What did you do? What did you touch?" And I'll be like, "I don't
Don't
know. All
know.
I know is that your body responded in the way that it needed to respond." It's a bit of
Yeah.
like a surprise box treatment. You never know what a person is willing to let go or what
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
carrying, that reflexology essentially just unlocks and allows them to flush out. So,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Because
Awesome.
I know I'm definitely getting into the menopause thing, and I am having severe insomnia.
Oh, I heard that's a thing.
Oh, I'm telling you, like I can be, it'll be midnight, and I'm like, I have to force myself to sleep, but I know I'm not tired. I'm literally like,
Wide awake.
Mhm.
and then during the day, I'm like,
Tired. Yeah.
so tired. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
You might have to give it a try.
I might have to. Yeah, for
Be
sure.
something you need.
Well, for anything really, honestly, not just, menopause or whatever, but
No, for sure.
it sounds very, very intriguing. Like it just, yeah, it sounds so cool.
It is cool. What about
Yeah.
somebody like who experiences oh, what's it called? Endometriosis or,
Yeah.
issues with their cycle or extreme PMS symptoms, pain,
Mhm.
things like that. Or maybe even someone who's, trying to get pregnant as well. Have
Right.
you had any experiences there or testimonials?
Yeah, I've worked with clients who have had that. As far as testimonials go, it really depends to how often they're coming for treatments and if they're going to
True.
be consistent. The thing with reflexology is that we don't diagnose, claim to cure, or
Of
prescribe
course.
or anything like that. So again, we're just allowing the body to get into that state, help flush out obstacles that are preventing it from balancing out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's going to be very individualized based on each client's history and everything like that. But definitely, again, when you get the body into that nice, relaxed state, it
Hmm.
can release those tensions, help sort out. If somebody came in specifically with anything to do with the reproductive system or PMS, menopause, and stuff like that, there are key points that we would work that work all of the reproductive system. So that's the area that we would focus on, as well as like the adrenals, the solar plexus, just to help with pain and again, a lot of relaxation. So
Cool.
if I do have a client that comes in that has a more severe case, I will show them a few points as well that they can work on themselves. So that's the other great thing with reflexology, because it can be very discreet. You can be sitting at your desk working points on your hands and nobody would even know that you're working on it. But internally, it's offering you so much benefit and you can continue to do it outside of my treatment room.
Cool.
Okay.
That's
Um,
exciting.
Another thing that I would like to get you to explain is how did you get into reflexology?
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's actually a funny story. I, well, if I really wanted to take it way back, when I was a little kid, my grandma would give me $1 and she would ask me to massage her feet, and I would think nothing of it. I just thought I was doing her a nice favor. And I never thought that I would have a career in feet,
Right, yeah.
but here I am. But not if I'm not going to take it that far back. My journey really started when the pandemic happened.
Okay.
Everyone around me seemed to be suffering from anxiety, stress,
Mm,
depression, and I thought, there's got to be something out there that can help people cope with this that doesn't necessarily result in a prescription. And so when all that was happening and it was at its peak, probably about 5 years ago, one day I was just sitting at the computer and I felt this strong urge to research holistic therapies, and their reflexology popped up. I honestly didn't even know what it was, hadn't really heard about it, at least not in the way that I thought I knew what it was.
right.
Yeah.
And I found an instructor who had a class coming up, and I thought I would reach out, found out more about it, thought, yep, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And the last 5 years, I've been just educating myself more and more, learning different therapies, different techniques, so that I can offer this to people who too just need a little help or are looking for more of a holistic approach to healing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love how everything well,
Just comes to
it's
be.
just yeah.
It just
Yeah,
I
it's
love
just being
that.
guided. I love
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
I
Hmm.
love that you massaged your grandma's feet for $1.
Yeah, that is
I just
so
love how these things, like when we're young, like even for me to experience reflexology, like I obviously now I'm so into holistic modalities, and my grandma being so she's very spiritual but religious at the same time, and I just looking at her going like, wow, like you're a healer, and just having that in my mindset, and just that she used her hands to bring healing to me, and I didn't even know how she did it. I just thought she was magical. And
right.
so, and I feel like, just the things that we do, I feel like people say the same things like, what'd you do to
hmm.
me? Even in
Yeah.
cranial sacral, they'll be like, what did you do? You're magical. Like, who are you? I'm like, listen, I just used this tool
Hmm.
and prompted your body to self correct and self heal. And this is why all these tools are so incredible. And that's why I say it's not just one modality. Sometimes you got to try different modalities and people,
Yeah.
to feel safe and to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to open up, because true healing happens then. And also it's just like finding the tool that like speaks to the body to do what it needs to do. And sometimes it's this tool or it's that tool. But again, everybody's different. And
Right.
so this is also why massage speaks to my body in a different way. Acupuncture speaks to my body in a different way. Like I absolutely know these modalities. And again, this is why I pay attention to like, how is this speaking to me? What is this bringing to me? What do I get from this? And then when I'm going through something, it's like, okay, I need massage. My body is speaking to me
Mhm.
this way. Okay, I need reflexology. My body is speaking this way. And so for me, it's just like knowing what tool I need, or it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I need chiropractic, and, I get like, I have an amazing chiropractor. And so having her kind of speak to my body in the way that I need her to, and it's just perfect. It just helps me so much. Um, like mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually as well. So it's just awesome. So I know when I come for sessions with Shawna, it's like you're just such a beautiful soul, and your room is so calming, it's so relaxing. And even your presence is just, you're so caring, and you just make everyone feel so comfortable, and you just want to just melt in her room. Honestly, she has a picture in a frame on the left side as you're laying there, and I think it says relax
Yeah.
or something. And it's just like, I just stare at it all the time. I'm like, that's all I feel. That's all I feel. It's just like, yes, I am so relaxed. And, she'll just make you feel like she's your best friend, like she's just really kind and caring. And she's got so much knowledge. And on the other side of the wall in Shauna's room is like, the wall is full of certifications, honest to God. So she does, continuously keep learning. And that's why I love it. Every time I go, she'll be like, oh, I found this out, and this is what's happening with this. And we're getting more awareness, I think you were saying, with, insurance companies, and just like
Hmm.
the progression and in the direction that we're going with these modalities, which is incredible. And so also, Shawna, you are certified reflexologist, correct?
Yes, I'm certified and registered. So, as you mentioned with the
Perfect.
insurance companies, I always inform clients like, please just check with your provider because we're
Yeah.
still kind of in our infancy stage, unfortunately, with the whole
Yeah.
coverage thing. Just as chiro
Yeah.
and massage took years and years to get regulated, the
Yeah.
Reflexology Association too is working very hard to partner with more and more companies. I think we've got
Yeah.
about seven. And then again, it also depends on which plans you have. So I
Hmm.
always let people
Right.
know, please reach out to your healthcare providers or whoever's in
Yeah.
charge of making your plans, because some companies can just add it on for no additional charge and others are able to swap it out. So
Yeah.
always make sure
Yeah.
you're checking to see if it's something that can be added to your plan if you find it
Yeah.
beneficial. So,
Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Which is great. I love the fact that they are recognizing that it's not
Yeah.
just scientific,
mhm.
Yeah.
that we do need all these different modalities as well to be
Oh, for
part of
sure.
our health, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
I
I think
hope
that's great.
I hope we get to the place where insurance companies um will be like, here's an allotted amount of money.
Yeah,
You choose what kind of care you need for
that's
your
right.
body.
Yeah.
And then you can use those funds for that. And I know
Hmm.
I've worked with a client who also is like somebody who kind of works in, I want to say they're the in between person between like insurance companies and holistic
Hmm.
therapies, and an advocate. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. She's an advocate for that, and she has been doing that work as well, which is incredible. And she told me a couple years ago that she's like, please tell all your clients that when they come for Reiki or whatever services, to please just like submit your receipts anyway to your insurance companies, because even if you don't have the coverage and you know that, submit it anyway, because the more that they see these coming through, they'll be
Hmm.
like, huh. As we know, probably insurance companies look at it and go, oh, I want to cash in on that. Look how many
Yeah.
people are doing that. That's just maybe their mentality, right? And
Hmm.
so, again, I always encourage people. And even though I've been doing Reiki almost 12 years now, I've been writing receipts for Reiki since the very beginning of my journey, and people have been able to submit
Yeah.
and have coverage for. So, some actually have Reiki built into their
Yep.
insurance
Hmm.
benefits. Some have what I think it's a health spending account as well. So
Yep.
it's where it's like extra money that they can use for whatever, which is
Hmm.
really cool too. So that I can say on, even for my like my own services of hypnotherapy, cranial sacral, and for Reiki, I just tell them submit it. You never know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I love that
Well,
for reflexology as well.
to add to, insurance companies, I do know for sure, well, we're not on that plan anymore, but I do know Sun Life has, depending on the coverage you have with Sun Life,
Hmm.
it does cover Reiki. So
Hmm.
I do know that because I've had many people submit it and get coverage for it. So, which is
Yeah.
great.
Oh, it is incredible.
Yeah, no, that is good. And it is true. It is true that the more you submit different
Yeah,
modalities, they'll see them and then it builds it up. And so,
Yeah.
it
absolutely.
just encourages more people to get, you know, not just even just the work to get done, but to get it so
Hmm.
that it is part of that, modality to be covered, right, for
Absolutely.
people. So, which is great. I'm glad to hear that.
Always try with reflexology, lymphatic
Mhm.
drainage.
Hmm.
What's the other one that I try to submit for? I mean, acupuncture is pretty much covered. Um, Trying to think of what other modality that I try to submit for. I mean, cranial isn't always covered either. So
No,
a lot of these, yeah, modalities were just, some of them are there. Some companies, again, like Shauna was saying, will have, but not everybody. And
right.
again, depending on
Yeah.
what plan. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. I thought I would just touch on that so everyone knows. And in case they do have,
Yeah.
maybe you want to give it a try. So yeah, it's
Um,
been amazing.
so Shauna, is there any other things that we haven't like asked about
Hmm.
reflexology that you would love to add that maybe we would love to know about or
Really, just that everyone should at least try it once. I don't
Yeah.
know how many times I hear clients walk in and they're like, where has this therapy been my whole life? Or why did I take so long to try it?
Yeah.
Again, so many people think, oh, it's just relaxation. Do I need relaxation? But again, you
Yeah.
don't realize how much benefit it is when you disrupt those patterns of stress, just what your body is capable of. Like I said, the body
Hmm.
is so profound and so incredibly able to heal itself when we give it the right tools, and
right?
reflexology is one of those puzzle pieces that I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are missing. But on that note, so many more people are searching for and coming to me for too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's fantastic. Definitely add it to a box on your wellness journey.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
for
And then you'd
sure.
also mentioned earlier that I mean, I know you do reflexology, but you also have a business called Be Still and Health and Beauty. So what other modalities do you do?
Yes, so reflexology is more of the health aspect of the health and
Hmm.
beauty. And the
Hmm.
beauty side is body sugaring, which again is a
Okay.
very natural, I'd like to say non-invasive, but I mean, it's hair removal, so take that as you will. But
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot more gentle than waxing and some
Yes.
other versions that are out there. And then alongside that, I offer microcurrent therapy, which is
Hmm.
something that isn't actually huge in Saskatchewan. I think there's only maybe three of us that practice it at the moment. And that's using a microcurrent machine that uses a very teeny tiny microcurrent that mimics the same electrical stimulations that our cells use to run the energy that runs out of our cells. So by targeting specific frequencies, I can help with fine lines, wrinkles, puffiness in the face. It's a holistic facial or a holistic facelift. And
Hmm.
so
Okay.
you can recalibrate those muscles back into their natural configuration for a much more youthful, radiant appearance. And not only does it target the face, but it incorporates traditional Chinese medicine techniques like non-needle acupuncture. So
Hmm.
by using a dampened Q-tip that's conducting a small current, we are able to activate different acupuncture points that again support all the systems of the body. So it's great again
Hmm.
for pain management, brain fog, hormonal imbalances, sleep issues, really anything. So
Hmm.
again, you're coming
Interesting.
for what you think is a facial treatment, but it's a whole body wellness in
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
It's one of
Yeah.
my favorite treatments, I'd have
Yeah.
to say. Obviously, I love holistic things, and as a Capricorn, we are ruled by skin, teeth, and bones, and so skin has always been a thing for me. And I definitely love, again, holistic. So I do see Shauna for microcurrent facials, and I absolutely love them to keep my face awake and lifted and keep it working and keep the collagen coming and just, and it is so, um, it is very relaxing, even though you're having all these different currents going through. It's still very relaxing.
Yeah,
So,
it's
and
not
I love
painful.
it. It's not painful at
No,
all.
you're not
None.
getting zapped. A lot of people think,
Okay.
oh,
I
you're
was
getting
like,
zapped. No, no, no,
I
no.
don't know about that.
Yeah, it's just like,
There's no zapping.
no, it's not like that at all. It's just tiny,
Very gentle.
very
Okay.
gentle.
And
Yeah.
so with that, is there any restrictions for people to have that treatment?
Microcurrent.
Yeah.
No, again, that one, I don't think there's any contraindications, honestly. There's different settings and different treatments I can do with the machine, which is really cool too. Like it can help with wound healing. So by
Hmm.
placing the pads around an area where you might have a fracture or you might have an open wound or a post-op scar. It can help break up the tissues because it
Of course.
increases your cellular repair by 150
Mhm.
to 500% depending on what you're trying to target. So
Wow.
meridian balancing itself is fantastic again for flushing out any stagnations that are hidden in your meridians. So it
Hmm.
can be used on, again, on a baby freshly born up to somebody 100 years old. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
very beneficial.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right on.
Frequency is the future of healing.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I actually, that's funny you say that because it seems to be that's what's coming, right? They're
Finally.
noticing, yeah, that.
That's the age of Aquarius, though.
Mm.
Just so great. Yeah, I was curious because maybe Shauna, you don't know this, but my sister has a defibrillator.
Hmm.
So I think that's also probably why she was asking if there was any restrictions with currents,
Yeah.
flowing. And do you know if was that part of something that you had learned that it's safe for them, or like anyone who has a pacemaker or a defibrillator?
Yeah, so again, if I was using the machine in a way to help with wound healing or anything like that, we have two pads that we can use. So we just wouldn't place them on either side of a pacemaker or defibrillator.
Right.
Mm,
But to do the meridian balancing, the non-needle acupuncture points, and the facelift itself, none of that would interfere. So that would be
awesome.
100% safe. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That
Yay.
sounds like I could do that too.
Maybe my sister's gonna come for a visit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring her down, do all the things.
I know, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe you've enticed her enough to come for a visit.
Yeah, yeah, I might. Yeah, like because like I said, I have to be super careful and cautious of where I get treatments and
Hmm.
that's part of the reason why I have that like I need to be safe
Yeah.
feeling because if I know that I'm laying there and I'm having a treatment done and it
Hmm.
could possibly affect the device, I will not be relaxed. You know what I
No.
mean? So if I know ahead of time that it's safe and that I'm I should reframe that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, wait a minute.
I'm going to reframe that. Even though yes, sometimes I'm told that. Obviously, unlike Bev, like it takes me
Exactly.
a session or two or so more to like kind of like okay, my body is going to be
Yeah,
like feel safe, right?
totally.
But knowing that it is safe, that helps me 100%, of course, going in.
Hmm.
Do I relax all of the way through? No, but it just gives me that also that feeling of like, okay, I'm going to be able to at least know that it's not going to affect my device because if I
Hmm.
think about that, obviously I'm going to have anxiety and I'm going to have all the things and it's just not
Yep.
going to be
It's
good
just,
for
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
So
no, it becomes a whole consuming
yeah.
circle that you go in, and
Yes.
that's exhausting for you.
It is, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I always try to find modalities that are obviously safe for me
Hmm.
because of that reason. So that's why I was like, a little bit asking about like, okay, is there any contradictions, in reflexology or like any modality really at the end of the day.
Mhm.
But it sounds
Shelley's
all
always the one to ask that question with
Yeah.
every guest.
no,
I know I
you're
leave it up to
yes.
her.
Yeah, I
I
do.
always bring all these modalities to Shelley. I'm like, I tried this and I love it. You got to try it. Oh my God, this vitamin is amazing. You need this vitamin. Like you
Yeah.
need to look into this. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, all
And
the
and Shelley
time.
will be
And
like, what are the contradictions to it though?
well, I
Yeah.
have to.
Of course.
It's not, I wouldn't call it unfortunate, but that is part of who I am as a person when I go
Hmm.
to do these things. And it's not
Yeah.
just modalities, it can be anything. I'll be like
Yeah.
going somewhere and I'm like, but are you allowed to have people that have like pacemakers go on that ride?
Yeah.
Right.
Is there any
Like stuff like
magnets
that.
here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so it's just one of the things that that's the curious part of me. I
Hmm.
know like I love listening and finding out like all different things and it's so cool, but
Yeah.
I always look at it like even on for my own self
Yeah.
because I have like all these other um you know curiosities of like what contradictions could
Hmm.
happen for me, right? Or other
Absolutely.
people who have the same device as me, right? So
Absolutely.
that's what I love about our show and why we talk about all these things is because like we do have all these other people who are like you, Shawna, who has a modality that we are interested in and talk about, but
Mhm.
also love the fact that we can talk about, other listeners who might have contradictions, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
that's what I love. I love that for that too. So
Well,
yeah.
it also gives the opportunity to like go through a lot of the questions for someone to maybe want to try it, without
Yeah.
like thinking about and going, again, what is reflexology? Maybe
Hmm.
we thought it was something, but it turns out to be something different, or
Right.
could I do that? What would it feel like? God, I got ticklish feet. Like I can't imagine somebody working on my feet, right? I've heard of a lot of things too, even when I talk about reflexology with people, referring Shauna. Um, but I want to just go back to what you had said, Shauna, about, if it might, when people say, where has this been? Why didn't I try this before? And maybe, is it just a relaxation thing? Maybe I don't need that. But I also want to touch on that because that's like the thinking and the feeling, right? The mind is really good, especially if you're in a state of survival.
Yeah.
If you have lots of anxiety, lots of stress, it will just tell you, you're fine, keep going, you got this, blah, 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 right? And we're just like, yeah, we just keep going. And it's like, oh, but if it's just relaxation, I don't need relaxation, I'm fine. You just keep going and going. And so, it's also like I would say, if even if you're thinking that when you listen to this, again, I would also support Shauna in saying, I think you should just try it. Because, and it's, again, it's like Reiki, I feel like too, where you're explaining and it's like, I can only explain so
Yeah.
much, but it's definitely a feel thing
Yes.
because it's a body thing. It's not of the mind, and if you just allow yourself to just try it and have the experience, it'll speak to you in a ways, again, that you're like, oh, whoa. And I know for some people experience Reiki for the first time, and I try to, create the most, comfortable environment as well to allow them to
Hmm.
feel safe to relax and to come home to themselves, is what I always say. And when they do that, it's like, oh, I've never been that relaxed. Whoa. And it's like,
Yeah.
exactly. Now
Mhm.
you've had this experience of like go, go, go to like how amazing that can feel when you do slow down. And when you do slow down and connect, it gives your body the opportunity to actually start to do the healing.
Right.
Mhm.
Because again, it's just surviving you.
That's right.
And so it's really hard to heal things when you're surviving. So no matter, I feel like what you're going through in life, yeah, you're right. I feel like people should try all modalities because we all need care. We definitely do not live like how Europeans live. We are very much, we have a lot of chaos and stress and distractions, and
Go, go, go,
life is
go.
just
Yeah.
amped, and we don't take the time to slow down and to listen to our bodies. So, again, if you're listening to this and your mind is telling you, I don't know if I need that, try it anyway. It's an incredible modality. And the fact that you can do feet, hands, ears,
Yeah.
face as well is just also great to have other options. But man, I'll tell you, the feet it's incredible. So, yeah,
Yeah. All
it is a
right.
mind
Well,
body thing. So,
yeah, definitely. So, in that saying that,
yeah.
Shauna, where can people find you?
Yeah.
Like where can they like book a session with you or even just get a hold of you to ask questions, that maybe we didn't answer on this episode.
Yeah.
So
If any
yeah,
people have
tell
questions and
us
they want to
all what
reach
you
out to you,
got.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on social media. I have a Facebook page under Be Still Health and Beauty, as well as Instagram, Google. All of that will give you my booking link, my email, and phone number. I always tell
Awesome.
clients, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. I'm an open book and I enjoy
Hmm.
hearing from people directly. So know
Perfect.
the face, know the hands that will be on you because I want you to feel comfortable even before you walk through those doors. So
Yeah.
Awesome. And again, I will have all of Shauna's information in our show notes. So those links will be there for anybody that is
Awesome.
in you're in Saskatoon, right?
yes,
So Saskatoon area, and that they can get a hold of you or
Hmm.
to book a session or just to get to know you. So
Yeah,
I will have all
exactly.
that in the show notes, and we totally appreciate having you on our show today and on this
Absolutely.
episode so that people can just, find out what reflexology is and to come hopefully see you and
Yeah,
or to even just go and get reflexology done somewhere in their local area. So
totally.
We appreciate you, and thank
Mhm.
you so much for coming on today.
Yes, thank you so, so much. As
My pleasure.
always.
Yes, my pleasure, ladies. Thank you for having me.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, that is everything for today on this episode. Thank you so much for listening to us, of course, always. And we just want to send you with lots of love, light, and gratitude wherever this may find you. I hope everybody
Absolutely.
has a great day.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.